you both for coming in today and interviewing with me for the topic of active citizens, active communities. If you could both give your name.
I'm H.D. Mitchell.
And I'm Lennox Iton.
All right. Good morning, gentlemen. So, HD and Lennox, how long have you both been a part of WITS?
Just about a year for me. I just found out about it last year.
I started in the 2016-17 school year, and I've been in it since then.
Okay. How did you both get involved with WITS?
Why don't you begin, Lennox?
All right. I have been looking for a mentoring opportunity in the Chicago public schools because the one I started with, which was run by CPS, had been terminated. That was in 2015. And I wanted to work in the Garfield Park neighborhood because I have some connections through church with that neighborhood.
Yes.
And I discovered that WITS had a program in a school in West Garfield Park, and so I signed on in, as I said, 2016, 2017.
That's not the only school that you've been with, as I understand it, Lennox.
No, it's not. When I was doing mentoring with the CPS program, I was also in West Garfield Park at a different school with an 8th grade program. Now I'm with a kindergarten program at Melody School.
I'm at Talcott on the near west side and work reading with kindergartners, usually 4 a day, and it's a lot of fun. They don't need a lot of motivation from me. They want to learn to read.
Thank you both. What do you both do for fun when you're not mentoring at West Garfield Park or Talcott?
Well, I have 2 grandchildren, and I like to visit them, and then I like to ride my bicycle through Chicago neighborhoods and along the lakefront.
I'm a very serious person. I don't have fun. Actually, I like watching old movies and on occasion playing my violin.
Violin.
I didn't know that. So long as I've known you. Should I keep that under my hat?
Well, that actually kind of led me into our next question. What's one interesting thing about you that not too many people know?
I'll go after you. You're an interesting fellow.
Well, I could use that violin. I actually play rock music on the violin. I've given up classical music decades ago, and I play rock music.
Mozart has been left behind. Well, most people probably don't know that I got to lead the pep band at high school basketball games. I could recite the fight song by memory yet today. I go to Flaco Tacos, and I like it because I'm always the oldest person there.
They do have some good tacos on the state. Let's see. What is your favorite book that you read with one of your kindergarten students?
Hands down, it's The Elephant and the Bad Baby. Bad Baby needs to learn to say please. And he goes through all manner of adventures to get to that learning. Finally, they all end up at his mother's house for pancakes all around the table. Wonderful story.
My story is from a book on what you might call fractured fairy tales. It's called The Stinky Cheese Man, and it's
A classic.
a riff on the gingerbread man, but with a stinky cheese man instead, and it's a lot of fun reading that one.
It's very popular with our kids as well.
Thank you. So I also understand that you two are friends outside of WITS. Could you all tell that story?
Well, I'd like to begin this one. I began working a part-time gig as minister of pastoral care at our Hinsdale United Methodist Church. And everybody said, oh, you gotta meet this guy, Lennox Iton. It's quite the fellow. Well, when I first saw him, he was talking to an individual, and then other people came, one at a time, to talk with Lennox. The bottom line is, Lennox did more pastoral care, and still does, in that congregation than me, and that was what I was hired to do. So I've always admired and respected and used his listening ear.
Well, he underestimates himself and overestimates me. As he says, we got to meet each other through this connection at church, where he swiftly became an endeared person to everybody in our congregation for the time he was there. And I got to know, respect, and have high regard for him since. And we had interests in missions and so on.
Yes.
But it was quite coincidental that we connected at WITS, because I don't think he knew I was involved with WITS.
I wasn't surprised, but I didn't know.
Yeah, and I didn't know he was going to come on board until we encountered each other at one of the orientation sessions, and I was as surprised as anything to see him there.
Yeah, I do remember that session, and I saw the joy on both of your faces as
Yes.
you both reconnected. That's what we like to appreciate about the WITS community. So many people are connected, whether they know it or not. But yeah, that's amazing. So I'll ask you both one more question. Why do you believe it is important for Chicago citizens to be active in their communities?
Well, the obvious answer is that we're needed. We're very much needed, no matter what our abilities or gifts may be. It seems that we're afflicted in our culture by runaway individualism and elitism and entitlement, and none of that serves us very well. Old John Donne talked about no man or no person is an island. We really are connected and depend upon one another for the welfare of all. I like the analogy of two people on the Titanic. As it was sinking, one saying to the other, "I'm glad the hole is not at my end of the boat." But it really is. So we stand in need of one another to work together for the general welfare.
Thanks, Ashton.
Well, in addition to my general interest in the commonwealth and improving the status thereof, I have, on the basis of my Christian beliefs and traditions, an inclination to do some work in the vineyard. And so especially since I'm now retired, I have a variety of volunteer activities I do, working with the homeless and visiting prisons, etc. And it was actually our bishop, Sally Dick, who called on members of our Northern Illinois Conference of the United Methodist Church to start to volunteer in the public schools in Chicago. She had a Chicago initiative. And that's when I started with the CPS mentoring program. And out of that grew later on the WITS connection. So I see all of these as various small attempts on my part to bring a little light in various corners, and I appreciate the importance of the WITS activity. And if I might point out, when I started with WITS, I didn't want to be working with kindergartners. I wanted to work with older children whom I felt were in greater danger of being lost. But I've now come to regard working with kindergartners is a fundamentally important point to begin with, and so I'm very happy with this connection, and continue to look for ways in which I can have community and local involvement. Not only in the city, I might add. I do not live in the city, but I am aware and concerned about youngsters in the city, and that's why I'm willing to devote some time to that.
Thank you both. These have been some wonderful answers. It's been a joy bringing you both together and seeing you two interact and talking with each other. Thank you both for taking time out of your day to speak with me and to the WITS community about being active in their communities and being active citizens. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
It's a privilege to be a part of the program.
Thank you.